I'll tell you what though, it feels good to create. It feels good to stop consuming so much and to create more. One of my resolutions for 2025 is to spend time making things a little more than I spend time taking things in, to create more than I consume. But, just to be mindful of what I'm seeing, and this goes for both I'm trying to eat less sugar and I'm trying to scroll less. And those are kind of the same. They trigger the same thing. They're both about dopamine. I'm trying to have healthier sources of dopamine, but it feels good to be so creative and to walk in it because you don't know what you're gonna make. And day in and day out, it's surprising and it's fun. And the artistic process or whatever, like if you're a creative of any kind, there's a point at which in everything you're gonna go, this sucks, and I'm gonna stop making it. And I have learned that that is just the point at where the dough needs to rise on its own in a little drawer, and you can pull it out and look at it later. But I used to always get really frustrated and discouraged and get to that point and throw the dough away instead of letting it rise. And I would say, oh, this is no good. And I would delete the Notes app lyrics, or I would delete the, piano track or whatever. If you can relate to that at all, just push through it. And if you don't want to keep working on the thing, if it's making you like bang your head against the wall, because I find in most things, something is going to make you want to hit your head on the wall and say, I don't like this. But if it's not ready to go right now, or you can't figure out, a lot of times for me it's a bridge, and I'm like, it needs to go somewhere before it comes home, but I don't know where it's going. And that's kind of beautiful when you let that go and you say, this needs something, and I'm not sure if I have the wherewithal to make it right now. Because when you're making something squishy, right? Like if you're making any kind of art, you gotta treat it gently and love on it. And you can't make a good like loaf of bread if you don't let the dough do what it needs to do and let the song tell you what it wants to do, without getting into too much esoteric stuff. Let your art be a dialogue, you're not just throwing paint at the canvas is telling you what it wants. Not to go crazy on you, but crazy on you. Just make stuff for yourself and let it be mediocre and say, well, okay, next. And there's the old story of the art class where half of the class had to make 100 clay pots and would be graded on how many they made out of 100, and the other half of the class was supposed to make one perfect pot. And every year the best top 10 pots in the class would always come from the group that made 100 mediocre pots. And I am trying to practice what I preach here, because a lot of times I get really excited about one song. I think, yeah, this is it. I feel so good about this. I want to make this. And then I get frustrated and I stop and I forget how good it feels to push through and create and make stuff. And I'll go, nope, that doesn't sound right. I hate this. I hate my life. And it can spiral into a really dark place if you don't stop that. And if you don't have people around you going, no, it's just this part that doesn't work, or having somebody to hold your hand and go, yep, this one is not getting you out of the hood, maybe make a new one. That's okay. Like, not everything right is going to be a number one, or not every painting you make is going to go in the Louvre. Like, it's just not the nature of it. So don't get discouraged. I know, don't get discouraged. Like, easy for you to say. Just keep your head up. Just keep swimming. Keep your head over the waves, because it's gonna be choppy. And I find that there is beauty in the bombardment, but you gotta be willing to face the next wave and say, okay, all right, and just It gets easier. It gets easier. I am living proof that it gets easier. I have never had a mindset around it that feels this good, and I still get frustrated. And there are things where I stop in the middle of the verse and I look at this and I go, "This makes no sense." Oh, I don't know why I'm yelling. I'm so sorry. But I'll look at something and go, "This makes no sense. Why did I write this?" And you move it away. You don't, like, I don't ever want to send the energy out in the universe of crumpling up my own words and throwing them away, because that you're taking away the own power of your own things and saying, "I don't care what I wrote and I'm going to throw it away." I try to say, thank you, and I move to the next page. Move to the next page. And it's a metaphor for life if you really think about it. Like, it is, because you can close the chapter, move on, say thank you to what it was, appreciate the good things that were there, and move on. And it's that way with a bad song or a bad painting or whatever. You just say, "Well, thank you for the time that I spent working on this. A lot of times I will excavate little pieces out of stuff I don't end up using," right? So like if I like these two lyrics back to back, or just a couple of words or a couple of phrases, or the guy from Weezer, he just journals every morning and then goes to yesterday's journal, highlights words he likes and phrases he likes, and then uses all that in his songs. So nothing is wasted, everything is upcycled, everything is turned into something else. And so the thing to do is just keep putting the pen to paper and the things will come out. And I find it's like Ed Sheeran says, if you turn on the tap, there's going to be a bunch of like gross water at the beginning. And I find that in the beginning of the day, I will start writing and it's, milk and eggs and go to the dentist and 3 pages in, and that's why I can't love effectively. And you go, okay, I didn't know I needed to get that at the grocery store. Let the profoundness be in the mundaneness. Let them exist together. Let the creative process become mundane. Building it into your life it feels good. For me anyway, it feels really good. So just some food for thought. It feels good to make things, and yeah, creating more than I consume. I don't know if it's necessarily I've gone 51 and 49 with it, because I still watch a lot of Family Guy compilations, and I'm not sorry. I am not. But I keep it to a minimum, and I just do that, when I'm falling asleep, whatever. And I am trying to work on my mental diet, read more books, consume less brain rot. I'm really, really, really just trying not to scroll. I'm like, doesn't matter that it's Family Guy or whatever. Doesn't matter that it's not, I don't need to watch a documentary all the time. Like, it's important, as artists, we have to unwind. We have to, we do a hard job of truth telling. We're truth telling. But, you need to be able to detach from, like, you can't take your work home with you, right? If you want to go into the mindset of writing a song, we have the luxury as songwriters of being able to work really anywhere. You don't even have to have a laptop. You could just write something out on a piece of paper, and you can get in that headspace. You can go to your office, right? But don't bring your work home with you. For me, that is unplugging from everything sometimes and going on a walk. And sometimes it's watching Family Guy in bed. But it's about taking the time to create every day, letting it be a process, letting some of it be bad and just say, that's never going to go anywhere. Or not even try to judge it, but just go, yeah, nope, next. This happened to me the other day. I had a song where I just talked about like crawling out of a grave, and I got really into the ins and outs of what that looks like. And then I sat back and I went, like, this doesn't make any sense, and why am I talking about my fingernails? So that's not a metaphor for anything. Like, what are you really trying to say? And I put the page aside. I picked up another page, and I just started over completely. And that turned into the song that's going to be my next single. Just create, just make the thing, let it be bad. At some point it will be good, and if it's not, oh well, you still made something. Look at you. So that's all that I have to say on that. Have a good night.